Good afternoon. It's Rufus Williams here in the WayMakers podcast studio, joined today by none other than Trey Malcolm Causey, a Morehouse man. Trey, welcome to the summit. How are you?
I'm feeling good. Just to clarify, I'm not a Morehouse man yet.
Not yet.
Yeah, it's man of Morehouse while you still attend, and then Morehouse man when you graduate. So I got about 3 months.
Thank you for that clarification. You are a man of Morehouse. That's what it is.
Yes, a man of Morehouse.
Man of Morehouse. So I already know you can tell a Morehouse man, but you can't tell him much. How about a man of Morehouse? Can you tell him anything?
I think the same rule applies.
Same rule applies. Well, glad to have you here and glad to have you in Chicago. Tell us something about yourself.
Yeah, well, I'm Trey. My father is a retired transportation guy. My mother was a crawfish farmer. I'm from uptown New Orleans. Went to St. Aug, all black, all male Catholic school in New Orleans, and now I'm in my last semester at Morehouse. So it's been a lovely journey.
How does it feel to be a senior at Morehouse? Tell us about this experience.
I think it feels like the world is at your fingertips. I've made the most out of my time at Morehouse. I think Morehouse showed me that everything in the world is mine, and everything that's in it, and it's up to me to just go out with the discipline, with the confidence, and with a certain candor and a certain drive.
Of all the schools you could have gone to, why Morehouse?
Well, I like to say, Howard is everyone's financial choice, but no, I think Morehouse is a dream come true. I can't even specify. Just when you come on campus, and let's say it's lunch hour 12, you have thousands of black men in college doing different things. Like, all of us are fundamentally different. Like, black people are not we're not a monolith. We do entirely different things. Like, my roommate does quantum physics. He works in like a quantum research lab, and he's getting his PhD at UChicago in quantum engineering. My other friend is in Boeing, and he loves like aerospace. And another guy is at like Disney, like producing movies, animation, and it's just a wonderful experience. It's a true black cosmopolitan environment, especially inside of a city like Atlanta, which is just growing at an incredible pace.
Tell us about growing up in New Orleans, because many of us see New Orleans in many different ways, but you grew up there. We see it very often brought there for celebration and otherwise. But what's life like growing up in New Orleans?
Life in New Orleans was super fun. I think that growing up, I was in a band. I played jazz. Jazz is something to my soul.
You have to do that in New Orleans.
Have to. It's real. It's a real community. It's somewhere where the whole community embraced me. I heard good brother Louis Carr talk about how everyone has a waymaker. No one pulls himself up. And there was waymakers all around me. Just community members. Like, when you're hopping on the streetcar, you don't have to pay. Just get on, or here's a free po' boy, or here's some crawfish, just to stay on the vision, or just, man, I think there's countless examples of people just loving on one another, and having that spirit of community that just nourishes everybody. And so I'm a proud person from New Orleans, and I love my city, I love my state. And I think that it's a grand place to grow up.
So many of us really got to know New Orleans if we hadn't known it before when Katrina came.
Mm-hmm.
What's it been like there? Were you there when Katrina came?
Yes.
And what's it been like since then?
Yes. So I think Katrina is really my earliest memory. I was 4 years old at the time. It was a couple weeks before my 5th birthday. And I just, from what I can recall, it was, it was a natural disaster, but for me, it was like the old flood stories, the old deluge stories that are all over like the ancient world, And me and my family went first to, I think, Mississippi, but then we settled in Houston for a year or two. And then my father's one of the first people to come back because he really believed in community. He believed in we are here because we have to lift people up, and our community needs us. And so, we came back and we helped build back up our neighborhood. We did a lot of community programs. So my dad did a lot of community programs. And, community, there is no I in building up a child. It takes a village. That's right. And the village after New Orleans, they really came together and they lifted themselves up, despite all the isms that affected Black people in New Orleans and the aftermath of it. It's been covered in news articles and plenty of books on some scholars much older and wiser than I at that time. But for me, growing up in the aftermath of that and seeing how people responded to it, I would say that it's like a phoenix story. It was burned down, but I think it's coming back stronger. It's coming back more vibrant, and I would love for the world to see the city.
So you could have gone to Southern, or you even could have gone to Grambling, but you picked Morehouse.
Yeah. Was
HBCU and HBCU always in your future?
Well, my dad said either I go to an Ivy League or I go to a HBCU. That was it. He said that is you're going to get the equivalent level of education at an Ivy versus at Morehouse. And I picked Morehouse, one, because I guess I wanted to get away from home. And Southern was an hour away. Too close. But two,
a lot more women at Southern than Morehouse, I'll just say.
Well, there's always Spelman.
There's always
Spelman. But, I'm a philosophy major, and the liberal arts at our college is very strong. Of course, you hear about, heavyweights like the Reverend Dr. King.
Good alpha man.
Yeah, good alpha man. Ice cold. Or
I think that's what he said.
Or guys like, theologian Howard Thurman or James Napier at Brazil or Benjamin Elijah Mays, all these guys who really pushed for change and who did it in a very statesman way. I remember my first time stepping on Morehouse College campus, and I'm amazed. Guys are traveling to different states, different countries, and are talking about it in such a normal, regular way that just blew my mind. It was like a Black utopia, and especially as I end off that year, I had the dream of it, and I've seen the dream, and now I'm living the dream, and I would say that 10 out of 10, a grand experience.
So a philosophy major.
Yes.
In your last semester.
Mm-hmm.
What's next for you after graduation?
Yeah, well, that's a great question. I spent 2 summers on Wall Street in investment banking. I've done some political work and campaigns, even voyeured into tech and doing a Google hackathon, trying to build out this AI product. But honestly, law school within the next 3 years. But I've been in school since pre-K 3, so I think I just need a break or two, travel, link back up with the family. I felt like I've been neglecting them and just the studies and just being in college. But yeah, after 3 years law school and then go practice law.
I want to talk to you about Walmart, because they've kind of come into your life somehow with the HBCU MVP Award. Talk about that.
Well, honestly, and I was telling Austin Taylor, he's the president of St. Augustine, and I was telling him, I don't think I honestly deserve it. I'm sure that there are a score of fellows who are equally as deserving, if not more, who are going out into the world and doing great change. But, as I think of HBCUs, especially in the aftermath of, this summer's Supreme Court case with at the end of affirmative action, I think that our community has to really pivot towards sustainable towards sustainable goals. Like HBCUs produce 40% of black 40% of black doctors, 80% of black judges. The majority of black professionals come from HBCUs, despite having a shred of the resources that PWIs have. And when you think of the vice president, the current vice president of the United States, Kamala Harris, to W.E.B. Du Bois, Thurgood Marshall, are real heavyweights of the people who wanted to seek change and had the courage and know-how to do so. You'll find that HBCUs are a core part of a core pillar of our community, and they espouse the tenets that I think our community should be built around.
And I can clearly say that in this podcast, there are 2 HBCU graduates here. Mm-hmm. Me having been a graduate of Southern, which is why this keeps coming up in our conversation. But it's been interesting as time has gone along, and big companies have gotten more interested in what takes place in diversity, equity, and inclusion, and much more interested in what takes place at HBCUs, which is why this Walmart MVP Award mm-hmm. comes through pretty interestingly as we start to look at that and think about what big corporations can do to engage and get involved there, and engage and get involved in sponsoring summits like the WayMaker Summit that we are here. We talked about a number of things, but your experience at Morehouse, and I'm thinking that you got this MVP award for some of the things that you've done in college.
Yeah.
Can you talk about some of those things?
Yeah. Well, I'm the past president of the Morehouse College debate team. I've been debating since 9th grade. I actually have a speech impediment. I have a stutter. I started debating because I had a speech impediment. Because I was, 9th grade, I was like, look, this cannot hold me back. Like I used to be mute for a period of time, just not wanting to talk whatsoever. And I went from that to being a debater, and especially in Louisiana, where it was super, it's super racist. But debating is a thing where it shows your intellectualism, and it shows. And as a black debater, of course, we all seen the great debaters like Denzel.
Absolutely.
Exactly, and it's one of those. It's really the forefront of black debaters, right? King debated, right? The majority of buildings of Morehouse College campus is named after debaters. It's one of those old. It's the art of rhetoric, the art of oratory, and it's one of those old traditions that have been in the academy, universities for thousands of years. And so that's how I did it. Actually, last night I debated Rutgers at the Apollo Theater in Harlem. Yeah.
Tell me more about that. What was that experience like?
It was crazy. The Apollo.
First, you're at the Apollo for once. That's a big deal in and of itself.
Yeah, it was crazy. I'm like, because I stayed in Harlem before for like summer internships, but being at the Apollo and seeing the crowd, it was just. Mind you, I'm coming back from 9th grade where I had a stutter, where I could not do it. And I started at St. Aug to I'm at the Apollo, or I'm at University of San Francisco, or I'm at First Pennsylvania. Like we've Morehouse team, we have a pretty great budget just because of the alum that we have produced. We have had a steady pipeline to a lot of grad programs like Ivies, and also international fellowships and international institutions. I think crazy enough, we had an intelligence officer come and just come and really try to recruit guys, just because of the type of skills and the type of the type of attributes that you gain when you debate. But besides that, that's like a core part of my Morehouse experience. I travel all the time. I got a lot of Delta miles. It's super fun. Besides that, I'm the treasurer of the Morehouse College polo team. I love riding horses. I've been riding horses since I was younger, and being able to play against guys like University of Virginia or Yale. I think we could be playing Yale in October. Berkeley's coming up, and being able to I like it at Treasurer because I'm managing the income and the upkeep of horses, and I'm trying to launch a fundraising campaign right now so we can get a stable, because people are trying to donate horses, and you got guys from Saudi Arabia wanting to come play with us, and it's super fun, and in a place like Morehouse, it's insane because even the guys on my team do completely separate things. You know, like they're like I if there's one thing I can stipulate as to HBCU guys is that there is not a monolith of black people. We do incredible things. We all come in different shades and different colors. There are there are Afro Latinos, Afro Asians, Afro anything. And there's a billion of us all over the world, and the beauty of HBCUs is they come from the entire African diaspora, and that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, there's a special beauty of being in a place like that with people like that that can really give you an opening for all the things that you can possibly do. And walking onto an HBCU campus, if you're on the campus of Rutgers, if you're on the campus of Yale, if you're on the campus of any of these other schools, PWIs. It's a big deal if you become on the debate team. It's a big deal if you become student body president. But you walk into a campus like a Morehouse, and it's going to be a black man who's going to be the student body president, and you are one of them. Yeah. And so it's not a big deal if you are, and nobody looks at it as skew or anything else, and gives you such opportunity when you're there. When I think more about what this whole HBCU MVP, this connection to Walmart is. Love for you to talk about what that means for you and what you think about that with respect to visibility for the
future. Good question. I think that one, just honored that just a company like Walmart would be, would say, hey, like you are our HBCU MVP. I'm really blessed.
You know how many people on HBCUs for you to be the MVP? That's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, I'm honored. And I hope I can continue to serve others and serve my community. I think that I think that I just want to hold up the torch, hold up the life. I'm a alpha. I pledge at Morehouse College.
Alpha like Alpha Phi Alpha.
Yeah, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated.
1906.
Yeah, 1906. Yeah, okay. Very same
heard
one.
Of them.
You heard of them?
I've heard of them.
Gotcha. But
it's not Kappa Alpha Psi, but it's okay.
I understand. There has to be a first, and then the others. But,
that's true. Because it gets better after that.
But
we can do this all day.
But I think part of it, something that's been instilled is in order to lead, you have to serve. Like you are servant leaders. Like you did not get here by yourself. Like the world doesn't owe you anything. It's up to you to go and serve. I think JFK had a speech where he was like, what did he say? He said, "Do not ask what your country for you what you can do for your country, and replace that with people. Replace that with community. Replace that with your local neighborhood, even your family. It's a change in perspective. It's all about. There's an old what is it? There's an old what is it? African symbolism. Was it Ubuntu? I am because we are. Yes. Because you are an I, but you also are in a we. And so when I think of Walmart HBCU MVP Award, and I think of the type of attributes, traits that we want to instill as the ideal model. It's a commitment to intellectualism. It's a commitment to service. It's a commitment to leadership, and it's a commitment to holding the light out and really being a trendsetter and trailblazer so that others can follow.
I'm not going to step on the lead, but part of what's happening here in this summit is talking about how we overcome uncomfortability. Mm-hmm. Talk about a time or some situations where you were uncomfortable and how you overcame it.
Got you. There's been a lot.
And you gave us one, which is the stuttering, right?
I think, I could say riding a horse, but I would say, just really letting go of fear. Letting go. I think it's, or not even letting go, understanding that fear is going to happen, and so there's no way around it. Teddy Roosevelt had a speech, and it was the man in the arena. And he said it, and I'm going to paraphrase, but he said it. It's I would rather be, try again and fail than be in that gray area with those folk that neither know victory nor defeat, who don't want to try. And I think failure is a part, like you fail upwards, like you fail, you learn, you fail again, you learn. And it's like a continuous thing, and you never stop failing because the day you're like, man, I haven't failed in a while, that's probably because you stopped trying.
When have you failed?
I think I failed stats my first semester in college, but
everybody may have.
Got an A next semester, so I failed, got back up, did better. But I think, man, I failed a lot. I don't even look at them as failures. I look at them as lessons. And L can be two things. It can either be a loss or a lesson, and you can recover from anything, and you can transcend in anything.
So when you took statistics again, did you get the A because you had already taken it before, or did you just decide?
Well, there was a different professor, so sometimes you might have to go a different trail up the mountain, but you'll be able to get up the mountain, and I think the thing that allows me to transcend everything is community. I think you are who you hang around. If you hang around people who do grand stuff and can constantly push you up, then you're gonna go off and do great things because it's gonna normalize it. And I've had the benefit of my grandmother told me some wisdom, and I guess I'll leave it here as to some of the last words. And she said, be careful who your friends are, because God whispers into the ears of your best friend, because that's the person you're probably going to listen to the most. And so make sure to keep the right ones around you.
And listen to your grandmother, because they always have wisdom, because they've been through it. Trey Malcolm Causey, congratulations on being the Walmart HBCU MVP, and thank you so much for stopping by the podcast here.
Hey, thank you for hosting.